To find whether or not the Yellowstone caldera will erupt within our lifetime or the next 100 years, we will travel to Yellowstone National Park to gather research, especially in the field of seismic activity and ground movements, to prove that an eruption would not happen in that given time span. The reason for researching a possible eruption is because protecting the American people from the cataclysmic devastation that the caldera would cause is of the utmost importance. Yellowstone's caldera has erupted 3 times in its history: 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and the most recent, which was 640,000 years ago. The eruption is one of the most deadliest because it spreads volcanic ash throughout the whole west of the United States, spreading 55 miles and destroying everything in its path. Some scientists tracking earthquake swarms under Yellowstone have warned the caldera is overdue to erupt. Early signs of an explosion are increasing seismic activity, increasing geothermal activity such as more geysers gushing and the ground rising. However, scientists don't always rely on these signs because they aren't always accurate. We will be staying in Yellowstone for about 6 months recording seismic and geothermal activity that will lead to an eruption of Yellowstone. On the first day, we will get to O'Hare Airport and leave by 3 o'clock in the morning. We will arrive at the hotel at around 10 o'clock in the morning that day. From there, we will travel to Yellowstone National Park, and by 11, we will set up our seismographs, our seismometers, and our thermal cameras by noon so we can record our data. From there on, the rest of the expedition will be 6 months of analyzing our data and discussing it with our fellow researchers. After the 6 months, we will fly back to Chicago O'Hare and analyze our data that we have collected for the past 6 months and review data from the thermal imaging cameras to observe how the magma chamber has changed and how it would affect the ground above it that might possibly cause an explosion in the future. The average adult spends around $300 a month on food. Altogether, over the 6 months, we will be spending around $5,400 on food and water. To get to Yellowstone National Park, we will buy 3 round-trip tickets from O'Hare to Wyoming for $800 a person, totaling $2,400 for all 3 of us. We will stay in a 3-room hotel for the duration of the experiment, which will cost $5,400 on its own. To get around the area, we will buy a $6,500 Mustang and gas, which will cost around $2,000 over the course of the 6 months. For the experiment to record and analyze the data, we will use thermal imaging cameras, seismometers, and seismographs. The thermal imaging cameras cost $1,700, the seismometers cost $1,600, and the seismographs cost $530. The overall trip will be around $25,000.